All right, there we go. We are live. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, my fellow comic book collaborators. My name is Chris, and this is my channel, We Love Comics, and I have an unboxing of two key Silver Age comics. Now, if you've watched my videos in the past, I've shown videos where I have probably 30 to 40, if not more, boxes of comics that I have yet to open because of situations that ultimately ended up happening recently where I couldn't buy very many comics because of the fact of what happened with my cat Luna and the fact that we're trying to move and I'm trying to raise the funds. Now, every now and then, I might get a comic that if I get it for such a cheap price, I could turn around, get it graded, and end up flipping it. That's going to help as well. But this is a book I've had probably for about 3.5 months, and I don't know how I don't open these. So I'm hoping everything's fine. The reason I held some is because the packages look perfectly fine. So the good thing is you get 6 months with PayPal, so if there is any kind of problem, I'm still protected. But I bought this probably 3-4 months ago. There's 2 comics in here, and while I see people coming in, I just want to remind people I am selling my comic book mystery boxes. I'm selling graded and ungraded comics. Like I made a video just 2 days ago where one of the comics I'm selling is the run of the Todd McFarlane Amazing Spider-Man run, which includes 298, 299, 300, 316, the entire Todd McFarlane run. So, Mr. Comics 89, my Ultra Power viewer, you didn't miss the show. I just started. I will post the link right here. The link is in the description. I will also pin it to the top of the comment once I finish the video. So let me put on the video camera. Otherwise, it's going to be weird me just describing what the books are. So, hello, everybody. This is the book, and as you can see, one of those wonderful, typical eBay manila packages. Now, if you purchase any of my comics, and plenty of people have recently, you will never get a package like this. Mine are in boxes. They are well secured. I send them priority mail. They are labeled all over the box. Do not bend or do not crush. So every one of them so far, knock on wood, has arrived safe. And Aaron says, hope Luna's well. She's doing amazing. Considering all the problems that she has, the fact that we took her off dry cat food, and trust me, research about that. You don't want to feed your animals dry food. It's one of the #1 causes of their heart disease, kidney disease, and them dying an early death. I have a video I made about less than a month ago that has only about 500 views, and YouTube, ever since then, has basically shadow banned the majority of my channel because my subscriptions have gone down since that video was out, and my views have gone down. Could be because I'm selling some comics, but hey, you know, doesn't matter. But check out that video. So you guys are here for the comics, but like I said, if you're interested in any, and also with the mystery boxes, since they're mystery boxes, you can't get specific books, but if you want like all Marvel or all DC, just let me know, and I have no problem doing that. Alright, so these look, let me just look at them really quick. Alright, so these are exactly what I thought they were. They're mid to lower grade. I have multiple copies of this book. Matter of fact, one of these you'll see is on sale on my web store. And also, by the way, if you're international, you can't buy off the web store, just message me at peacefulfeelings@yahoo.com. So I'm going to put that right here, Peaceful Feelings. That's my business website address. And then make sure you put the S on. But it would have to go through PayPal if it's international. So, again, you can't do it off there. So, one of these I actually sold a 7.0 already. But I have a couple of copies, and this book, when you see it, you know, when you hear the prices I pay, because you guys know me, I always wait for good deals, and this is one of the tips I want to give you guys. I know when it comes to buying comics, people want things now, and sometimes you do have to act fast, because with today's comics, even books that just come out on the shelf and New Comic Book Wednesdays can go from a $3.99 book to a $20 book before the first day is even over. So I understand sometimes you have to pounce. Just make sure you know what you're buying. Make sure you know the future of the book. Make sure it's a book that's going to be at least on a steady ground, on the rise, or a book that even if it has a fall, will go back up again. And that's why I tell people, try and focus more on Bronze Age and Silver Age and even Golden Age key books, because they have a higher chance of a long-term investment than some of the newer books, or what I call flavor of the month. Now, that doesn't guarantee every newer book is going to be a failure or every old book is going to be a success, but the more you learn and the more you research, the more power you have to make the best decisions possible. And that's why you see time and time again books where I have them sometimes 50% or less or more, less than what they're valued as. So let's show the two books. Now, of course, I'm going to have to check these to make sure they are complete, but they look just like I remember. Like I said, I bought these about 3 or 4 months ago, so the fact that I kept them in the boxes is just amazing to me. These will be sent in to get graded. I already sent books this month to get graded. I'll put the video out tomorrow or the next day, but here's the first one. I have several of these. Now, this book is going to continue to be on the rise because, remember, there is going to be a TV show. So this book is still hot and definitely a desirable book. This is Tales of Suspense number 57, which is the first appearance of Hawkeye. Now, I'm sure the TV show will eventually focus more on his daughter, but still, Hawkeye is going to be in this, and it's still going to be desirable because the name Hawkeye is still going to get people to remember this book. So this is definitely a key Silver Age book. I only paid, and of course I always mention price with shipping and handling, I paid an even $200 for this book. This is probably, needs a pressing. You could see it's got a little, well, you probably can't see it, but it's got that typical indent right here. That basically means that somebody probably stacked them like this, or stacked them so scrunched together that because this side with the staple is going to be always thicker than this side, you're going to have that kind of folding up a little bit, and that puts a little pressure here. But a pressing could fix that because it doesn't break color. So I would say after a pressing and dry cleaning, probably between a 4.0 and a 5.5. I'd have to look at the rest of the book beforehand. So between a 4.0 and a 5.5, not bad for $200. And like I said, I bought this probably about 3-4 months ago. But the reason I bought that one is because of this book. Because it came with kind of a package deal, and they gave me a good discount on the shipping and for this price. I have one of these right now on my web store that's graded as a 7.0. It's a beautiful book. I have at least one other copy, but now I have a second copy, maybe a third. But I love this book, and it's perfect timing for this one. We have Tales of Suspense, number 52. That is the first appearance of Black Widow, who is getting her first solo movie, and that's coming out next year. So this book, again, still has time to grow because they just made the announcements. What do you think's going to happen when they show the first trailers? It's just going to keep rising. So this book still has plenty of room, and plus because it's a Silver Age key, this book, it might dip a little bit at certain points, but key books with key characters are definitely going to continue to stay at least steady. You're not going to see this drop to a $10 book. So that's why I concentrate on these. Now here's the price I paid for this. And I'll show you right now. Well, I can't show you, but I'll tell you. I base a lot of prices, one, on what people are paying on eBay. Because remember, it always goes by not what the value of the book is, but how much somebody's willing to pay for it. And I always tell people, if you have to, wait for deals or try and make deals. Unless you find a book that's just, I mean, honestly, if it makes you happy and it's something you want, you know, there's always exceptions to the rule, especially if you're not going to turn around and sell them. Because that's why I always tell people have multiple copies, because then you don't have to worry about if you have to trade or do what I'm doing where I have to sell some of my books. So I paid about what a 1.0 is for this book. And again, I'm going to post the link to my web store, and if anybody can share the link, it really helps, because I'm about halfway to my goal to be able to get that house. Mastodon Comics says, Chris, are you more a Marvel guy than a DC? I'm probably 90% Marvel, 10% DC. I don't hate DC at all. I just grew up with Marvel and prefer Marvel more. But I have nothing bad to say about DC except for the social justice warrior stuff that not only they're doing, but also Marvel is doing, so that goes hand in hand. Newer stuff, either company, I'm not that thrilled about these days. I tend to collect the older books. So this has a pen right there, 1/7. So I don't know if that's the original date stamp. It has a little writing. It has some folds. It has a little piece missing right there. This is probably a 3.5 to a 4.0. It does have a color break increase that goes across here. Yeah, so about a 3.5 to a 4.0. With shipping and handling, I only paid $149.99. So not a bad price at all for this book. I absolutely love these two books. So those are the two books I got. They look like they're in great condition. Like I said, if there was a box that was damaged, I would definitely open it right away. But I saved about, like I said, between 40 and 50, probably more boxes of comic books. And as you can see, some key ones. So if I ever had a situation, which ironically enough has happened, where I couldn't order massive amounts of books, I had the ability to still make some videos. So don't forget also, I am doing a contest. So far, only one person's entered. I'm giving away one of my comic book mystery boxes. So you get 20 free comics. It's not really complicated to follow the rules. You basically just have to have a way to advertise my links to my web store. And if anybody purchases from your referral and they mention you referred them, I upgrade the quality of the comics that are in the mystery box. So, you know, you can end up having 20 amazing books based on your ability to help me to get into my house. So check out that video. It was only made last week. And like I said, there's only one person right now that's entered. So I'm a little shocked by that. But hopefully that'll fix, because the deadline is August 18th. And if it ends up nobody enters, the one person, I'll just send them, you know, the Marvel mystery box. But there's up to 3 people that could win. But it really depends on how many people join in. So check that out. If you're interested in any of my comics, and also remember, I'm also selling a couple of gold and palladium bars, and I'm selling them below spot. If you know what spot means, that's what the current prices of those bars are. So if anybody's interested in those, get them while they can, because if the prices keep rising, I'm going to turn around and raise the prices. I did lower the price on a couple of the comics on the website. Not everything. 1 or 2 went up a little bit because of the movie announcements and stuff, but I have a couple where I lowered the price a little bit to make it a little bit more enticing. So if you've looked before, you may want to look again. So there's a bunch of books still available. I'll add more when I get the opportunity. These books I'm going to send in to get pressed and graded, because I could sell them for higher when they're graded. And like I said, my best advice is make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure you get books that are on the rise, or at least, you know, if they're going to dip, they're only temporary. Because key books will be, I mean, an Amazing Fantasy 15 you're never going to see for $100. Books like that, even if they don't make a movie for 10 years, is still going to be a desirable book. So even like what you saw with the Fantastic Four, that had a decent little dip because of that bad movie a couple years ago, but look how much it recovered. Now, it took about 5 years, so you have to be patient in the game. But the best time to buy stuff is when nobody wants it. And that's why I was telling people, when that movie was absolutely horrible, I was telling people to buy stuff like the first Silver Surfer and Galactus in Fantastic Four 48 and 49. I was telling people to buy the X-Men books, because I knew that when they first announced the potential Fox deal, I knew that was going to go through, because Disney was just going to throw so much money, there was no way it wasn't going to happen. But it wasn't going to happen for years, so most people wait until the last minute. Now look how much you're paying. Like, for example, I bought 2 5.0 graded books of Fantastic Four 48. I have a couple other copies, but I paid $350 a piece for those. Those are right now around $1,200, $1,300, and they haven't even announced them yet as a movie. Just rumors, you know, basically saying they're coming. But that's not until Phase 5, or unless they sneak them in somehow in Phase 4 and they're just not telling us about it. Those prices are going to go even higher. So it's all about timing. It's all about being patient as well. Sometimes you have to sit on an investment for 5 to 10 years. So if you're 90, probably not a good idea to be investing in things. But if you're 19, if you could sit on something for a decade, I mean, look for example, I always tell people all the time, because people are in such a hurry for books to be skyrocketed to the moon, and then they get scared if it dips. Look at 2 major books that came from the Copper Age. New Mutants 98 and Amazing Spider-Man 300. Those 2 books, which by the way have millions of prints, So, when people say these days, oh, it's got 500, 600,000 copies, well, if you have 3 million people that want those 500,000 copies, you have a supply issue. That's going to increase the demand. There's less supply, so the prices are going to go up. But for decades, nobody cared about Amazing Spider-Man 300. Nobody cared about New Mutants 98. Look at, for example, The Walking Dead. Issue number 1 had about a 6,000 to 7,000 print run. It took over a decade before anybody cared about that book. So sometimes you have to sit on books for a couple of years. So if you think you're going to always turn around and buy a book and flip it the next day, you might even make profit. But if you would have sat on it for a couple of years, you might have made 10 times the amount. And I see that mistake all of the time. So just because you see dips sometimes, don't get scared and sell your books, because then people are going to end up taking advantage of the person's inability to do their research and buy things cheaper. Because remember, when it comes to any investment, it's buy low and sell high. But when do most people buy? When it's at the peak, when everybody wants it, when the news is talking about it. That's the worst time to buy. Unless you know there's another stage that's going to go up even more. It depends. Like I said, when they did the announcements for the X-Men and Fantastic Four, the book shot up. Same thing with the first appearance of Wolverine. But there was a plateau and a little dip. That's the perfect time to buy if you didn't get it beforehand. Because now you're going to see them start rising a little bit, but right now they're stagnant because there are no announcement yet, especially for the X-Men. So this is the opportunity to buy. Now, obviously, years ago was the opportunity, but unless you have a time machine, you can't do anything about what's already happened. Get it at the plateau. Most people are going to wait until there's an announcement, but then you're going to pay 20%, 30%, sometimes over 100% more for a book that you could have bought for cheaper the day before. So be smart about it. Make sure you're buying books, if you're doing it for investment purposes, at proper times, because timing is everything. And do not use emotion when you're buying and selling books, because then you're going to sell quicker than you should. You're not going to hold on to things. You're going to get worried that, oh, the price went down. Or if all of a sudden you see a $5 book become a $10 book, you're like, oh, I could double my money. Let me sell it. Yeah, you doubled your money, but you made $5. Well, if you waited 5 years, that $10 book could be a $500 book. Don't regret your mistakes and learn from your mistakes if you've done things like that in the past. We've all done that. So if you follow those rules and you know what you're investing in, you're going to be having a better odds of success. It doesn't guarantee success. But if you see time and time again how inexpensive major key books are when they're relevant at the times and the deals that I get, it's because I put in the effort. I know what the prices are, so I don't have to spend, like, for example, a lot of my books that I got, especially recently, like that X-Men book, a lot of the books are newly listed books. Now, if you have to spend days trying to research everything, somebody else is going to snatch it up. So you have to know right away. Like when I saw this book, it was a newly listed book for $149.99. I knew that was about a 0.5 to a 1.5 price, or 1.0 price. And this book, unless there's something inside that I have to check, and I usually don't have problems like that, I knew this was about a 3 to a 4.0. So I could double, if not triple, my money. Again, it's all about knowledge. So let me put the link one more time. If you're just getting here, I am selling my comic book mystery boxes. I'm selling graded and ungraded comics. I'm even selling some gold and palladium bars. Only 5 of the gold and only 2 of the palladium. So you really want to make sure that you research. But if you're interested in any of those items, let me know. It looks like I didn't put a separation with the link, so let me put a space there. So you might have to, where it says link and then the HTTPS, just make sure you only copy that part. I'm redoing it right now. There you go. So there's a space to it. So the other links may not work. So I will make sure it is in the description. So I'll also post it on the comment section when this uploads. So there we go. So there's the link. Comic Book 62 says, what is effective distribution ink spray on a comic? Honestly, it depends on how bad it is. But when it comes to a manufacturer's error, they're a little bit more lenient than opposed to, like, for example, if you had a book and you just were holding a pen and the pen leaked on the book, you're going to get graded a lot lower than something that happened while it was manufactured. So how much that's going to affect it really depends on the problem, how extensive it is. So it's really hard to say. But again, they're going to be a lot more they're going to be a lot more lenient if it's something that happened, from the manufacturer, and not something like you spilling ink or food or stained it yourself. So hopefully that helps ask the question. All right, so that's it. Let me do today's surprise subscriber shout out. If you appreciate my videos, please, if you can, give it a thumbs up. Because like I said, because I did that video about helping your cats and dogs, YouTube doesn't like truth. So they've kind of shadow banned my channel, because ever since that video, my views have dropped tremendously, subscribers dropped tremendously, and views have dropped tremendously. It could either be they don't like me anymore and I'm no longer relevant. That's a possibility. Or, there's more to it about that. So your sharing and your thumbs up will help. Join the contest. The video I did a couple of days ago. Just watch the video so you can get the information on how to enter. If you're interested in any of my books, like I said, if you're international, you just have to go through PayPal. Just message me at peacefulfeelings@yahoo.com. And today's surprise subscriber shout out will be Richard McDowell. Welcome, and thank you so much for your comment. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, it is not you, it is not I, it's We Love Comics. Thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate you all. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next video.